Hi everybody, welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. Today I'm answering a subscriber's question about straightening the horizontal waist balance line on a princess seam pattern. If you're having issues with your vertical length, usually because you have a larger bust, then you need to add length through the center front of your garment, but not at the side seams. So the good news is altering a princess seam pattern is really easy because it's already broken up into two sections. So I'm going to show you two different things today. I made two copies of these mini princess seam pattern pieces, and what I'm going to do first is let me just cut them in half so I can separate them. Okay, so the first thing is you need to decide how much you need to add. So the easiest way to figure that out is if you're working with a muslin and you've drawn your horizontal and vertical balance lines on the muslin, you can measure how much you need to add to straighten out your waist seam. If you're working with a garment and you don't have any horizontal balance lines, look at the hem and see how high it's picking up, and that will tell you how much you need to add at center front. So we're going to go with a 1/2 inch here. I'm working with these little minis, so you can obviously get away with doing more, an inch and 1/4 if you need on a full size pattern. But for these little minis, I'm just going to work with a 1/2 inch to show you how to do it. The first thing is we're working with the waistline horizontal balance line. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to make that room at the waistline. My guess is you need the room because you have a prominent bust. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a guideline that's up near the full bust. Like this. And then what we're going to do here is I'm actually going to start with my side front piece, and I'm going to slash through the center, the inside edge. I'm going to make a hinge at the side seam, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just pivot that up the amount we need to add. So I'm going to make this fairly large for this size, this little mini, but I'm going to make a 1/2 inch here. So you can see what we've done now is we've added the 1/2 inch right here. So then on our center front, what we're going to do is we're going to cut straight across the pattern, and we're going to spread the whole thing in equal amount. So let me just tape the bottom, and then what I'm going to do, let me just trim off this extra here so I can get it right next to my other one. I'm going to eyeball it. So I'm just going to spread this, and one way to help to make sure you're putting it back the right way is if you continue your center front line here like this, then you can make sure when you put it back that center front edge is still completely straight. Okay, so now you can see we've added length at the center front down to 0 at the side seam. And that's going to allow the waist horizontal balance line and hem to hang straight. So what I want to just do is show you here. I'm going to cut these out. Now, just for ha-has, what I want to do here is I'm going to add it, instead of slicing and dicing, I'm going to add it to the bottom of the pattern instead. And just as an experiment, let's see what the finished shape of the two versions are when we compare them to each other. So I'm just going to measure this to get an exact. And really, I think I did 3/8 instead of a, I don't know. Okay, so I did get a 1/2 inch there. So I'm going to extend my center front a 1/2 inch like this. And I'm going to go across a 1/2 inch all the way across here because that's what we did up on the other version. So I'm just going to go right across like that. So I'm going to add it down here. And then obviously I have to add my 1/2 inch here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to blend back to 0 like this. Okay, so basically instead of adding it up here, I've added it down here. So now what I'm going to do is let's just lay these pieces down and see what happens. So you can see the center front piece matches perfectly. Okay, you can see it lines up just as lovely, or is the exact same shape, because obviously we added it straight across and straight across. Now the side front piece is different because we created a wedge adjustment up at the bust here, but down here we just added the length. So up at the top you can see that it changes the angle of the top of the pattern, or it sort of, you know, it changes the angle here, and it actually creates a little bit more of a cup shape. So lengthening the side piece here, I think, is more effective than just adding it at the bottom, because in addition to creating the vertical space, it's pushing the top of the pattern this way, creating a larger dart, you know, between the side and center front piece. So I think to make easy work of adjusting your pattern, if you want to do it the most efficient way, you can just add the total amount of length you need at the bottom of the center front piece, and then just move your waistline up that amount so you're not, you know, screwing with the position of it. Oh, I'm sorry, drop it, dummy. I'm sorry, it's down here. Ding dong. Okay, so we lengthened it here, so that's nothing. This is nothing. So our new waistline is there, and you can see that that lines up with, you know, what we did over here. So if I put these two pieces next to each other, you can see that the waistlines match if you just add it at the bottom and then just drop your waist horizontal balance line down. But when we're working with the side front piece, I think it's definitely better to add the length up at the bust. All right, so that was my little test to see. Sometimes I like to try things a couple ways and then see what the ultimate shape of the pattern pieces are, because a lot of times you do something within a pattern, but the overall shape is the same as just adding on the edges. In this case, you can see in center front, it works out great. Side front, I would add it where I need it, so up at the bust to lower the waist. So if you have any questions about how to add length to a princess seam pattern at your center front, please post those below and I will help you. As always, if you have specific questions about a fitting issue, post those as well, because I really enjoy doing subscriber question and answers. it actually makes life easier for me because sometimes I'm working on something and all my big projects, during the rest of my work life have nothing to do with fitting. So it's really nice to get um, questions that I can refer to when I'm not working on something specific that I want to share with you on these Fit Tip Tuesday. So I want to thank everybody for watching. If you're enjoying Fit Tip Tuesday, please click the little subscribe button and the little bell so you're notified when I upload something new. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on Friday live at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for another episode of FabFit Friday.